Title: Ex-wife returns seeking a second chance. As she came by and started with an apology, saying how sorry she was for all the pain she caused. Fran then asked if there was any possibility of us being a family again. Hi everybody. We're back with another subscriber story. If you have a story you'd like to share, whether it's funny, successful, or about overcoming a challenge, send it to Lessons from Life. If your story can help even one person, you've done something great. Now, let's dive into today's story. This subscriber's story begins with him watching a lot of YouTube videos on various topics. He stumbled upon a video from Lessons from Life that caught his attention. After watching 25 to 30 videos, he found himself in tears, realizing he still had unresolved issues from past relationships. All the bad experiences with women and the good ones he lost due to fear of commitment and getting hurt again came rushing back. So, he decided to share his story, changing the names to protect those involved. His name is Frank, and his first wife, Sue, was his high school sweetheart. They married right after high school, and for the first year, everything was perfect. But soon, the lies began, followed by one red flag after another. He eventually discovered she was cheating with his best friend. Devastated, he didn't know where to turn. He filed for divorce, feeling completely numb to the world. During this time, his ex-wife's best friend, Fran, who was also going through a divorce due to her husband's infidelity, reached out. They found solace in each other, sharing their pain and helping each other through tough times. Before long, Frank realized he had feelings for Fran, and she felt the same way. They started spending more time together, and as their divorces were finalized, Frank asked Fran to marry him. She said yes, and Frank felt like he was in heaven all over again. Before tying the knot, Frank made it clear to Fran that cheating would be a deal-breaker for him, and she agreed. About a year into their marriage, Fran became pregnant with their first child. Fran already had a daughter from her first marriage, and although her ex was a deadbeat, Frank loved the little girl as his own. 6 months later, Fran mentioned feeling lonely due to Frank working 2 jobs and expressed a desire to stay with her grandparents in California for a while. Though it was hard for Frank, he thought it might be good for her. A few months later, she called to inform him their son was born and that she was coming home. However, upon her return, Fran stayed at her parents' house and soon asked for a divorce, leaving Frank shocked and heartbroken. He had no idea why she was doing this and felt like his world was crumbling. 4 months later, Fran called Frank while he was at his mom's house, asking to come by and talk. When she arrived, she apologized for everything and revealed that she had married another man 2 months earlier, only to have the marriage annulled after 2 weeks. Fran explained that she thought Frank had been mistreating her but realized what true mistreatment was after her second marriage, where her husband was abusive. Frank felt like she was twisting a knife in his heart. Despite everything, Fran told him he could see their son whenever he wanted. After that day, they would talk during his visits to see their son. One day, Fran's grandmother invited Frank to a family reunion. Although hesitant at first, he decided to go. At the reunion, Fran and her family were welcoming, and as the night went on, they all returned to Frank's hotel room. Fran ended up sleeping in the same bed as Frank, and later, she started asking if there was any chance of them being a family again. Frank didn't give her an answer. A few days later, Fran's father visited Frank, telling him that despite having 4 daughters, Frank was the only son-in-law he ever truly had. He warned Frank that Fran would only break his heart again. Despite the warning, Frank decided to give their family another chance. He loved his children and missed them dearly. Fran's mother later apologized for causing trouble in their marriage, promising to stay out of their relationship this time. They remarried, and everything seemed to be going well. They had another son and attended church regularly. However, Fran soon complained about not seeing Frank enough due to his busy work schedule. She suggested that he quit his part-time job so she could work and they could spend more time together. Fran quickly climbed the ranks at her new job, becoming assistant manager. However, she began coming home later and later, making excuses about work meetings. Eventually, Frank confronted her, and after pressing for the truth, she admitted to having an affair with a co-worker. Frank was devastated. He packed her bags and told her to leave, reminding her that cheating was a deal-breaker. Fran tried to downplay the affair, but Frank was done. She attempted to overdose on pills, but Frank, coldly detached, gave her water to help her swallow them, making it clear he was finished with her. Fran ran to a neighbor's house and they rushed her to the hospital. While Frank stayed home with the kids, their pastor came by urging Frank to forgive Fran, but he refused. Later, Fran was fired from her job after her affair was exposed. She stayed in the hospital for a while, undergoing counseling, but a month into her sessions, she and the pastor ran off together, shattering not only Frank's family but also the church community. Fran returned almost a month later, asking Frank if there was any chance they could work things out, but he declined. Frank filed for divorce, and when Fran asked for reconciliation, he made it clear that it was over. They took the kids to the park to talk, and Frank asked Fran if a large child support payment would mean he never had to see her or the kids again. She immediately agreed, which told Frank everything he needed to know. He signed the divorce papers and moved on. This happened over 30 years ago, and Frank has since moved on, raising his boys on his own. Though they didn't have everything they wanted, they had what they needed. Frank still talks to his stepdaughter, who now has kids and grandkids of her own. Their bond remains strong, with her still calling him Dad. Frank reflects on the scars left by his ex-wives, realizing that the chaos they caused made it hard for him to trust again. Recently, Frank learned that his ex-wife's husband had passed away and that she moved back to his state. Though they haven't been in contact, Frank knows she'll likely reach out, potentially turning his world upside down again. He's been battling cancer and isn't sure if he can handle it. Frank's story is a testament to the pain of betrayal and the difficulty of moving on. Even after decades, the wounds from being hurt can remain. His story serves as a reminder to be cautious about giving second chances, especially to those who have already shown their true colors. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild, and sometimes it's better to let go and not look back. Frank's journey shows the importance of self-respect and the strength it takes to move forward even when it's painful. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey. Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next story.